Alright, I am really enjoying reading this book. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Richie, and welcome back to my channel, Gender Not Found. I think I did the intro wrong. Oh well, you know what? It doesn't matter. Anyway, I am so enjoying this book, and I'm really glad we're back into it because I actually missed it so much. You guys have no idea. Like, this was the thing I was looking forward to all week when I was having those issues with, not feeling good, and then with the internet, this was the thing I was looking forward to all week the whole time, hoping, I kept on hoping that I would have the chance to upload it, and now I have, and I just read one chapter and now I'm about to read another, and I may or may not take a shower tonight. We're gonna see what time it is. And if I don't take a shower tonight, I'm definitely gonna take one more because I had to plunge the toilet and I came out of it pretty sweaty because it took a lot of fucking work in the end that I ended up having to ask a neighbor for help because my toilet plunger is being really annoying and it keeps ending up inside out. And I don't want to completely I can't. There's no way for me to. I'm afraid I'm gonna splash water everywhere if I use the toilet lid to put it back the way it's supposed to be. So, me and my mom are looking into getting a new toilet plunger when I see her in a couple of days, and probably on Wednesday, on my birthday. By the way, guys, my birthday's in a couple of days, so send me lots of fun and birthday wishes. My birthday's on Wednesday. I'm only kidding. You guys don't have to do that. But it is my birthday on Wednesday, so if you guys want to send me, like, a message or a gift or I'm only kidding. But seriously, I'm gonna have a lot of fun and I'm actually planning a vlog. I have no idea how long it's gonna be. I just downloaded a cloud storage app on my phone so that I can hopefully film it on my phone because both of my camcorders right now, they got lost in the move. Plus, I mean, they didn't get lost. I'm assuming they're around somewhere. I just don't know where the hell they are, so I'm gonna have to figure that out later. But for now, my mom's not coming home until Tuesday, and so I will be seeing her Tuesday night for her to grab my laundry and help with a couple of things, and then, on Wednesday is my birthday, so we don't even have time to, like, look for the camcorders or whatever and find them and put them together, and it's a whole thing, and I honestly think they don't even work because I remember the last time I tried them, they didn't work. So, unless I'm completely wrong about that, which I could be, there may be one that works somewhere in there. I don't know. I have like three of them because I keep buying them for my channel. And I actually had two. I had one that I used on a regular basis, and then I had a second one that was a backup. But I don't know where either of them are now, so I might ask my mom about that. But until then, I'm going to be doing the birthday vlog on my phone. So, in that case, I don't know how long it will get to be because I did download a cloud storage thing, but that may need internet to work. So, I don't know. It'll be as long as I can manage, okay? And then I'll edit some stuff together and either way, you guys are gonna get to see exactly how that works, and you guys are gonna get to see my birthday vlog because I'm gonna be vlogging at least part of it. And one thing I definitely want to do though, because I want to go over to my mom's house right after she's making chocolate chip pancakes for breakfast, as is tradition on my birthday, and then I want to go straight over to her house so we can put the laundry in the washer, and also so I can open my presents because I'm really, really looking forward to that, and I want to get that out of the way, and I love that, and I know I'm really gonna enjoy opening all the presents and gifts that she has for me. So I'm gonna enjoy doing that, and you guys are gonna get to see that live on my vlog channel. This channel right here. So, okay. This intro is now 4 minutes long, so we should probably just get started on reading the book. Hang on. Okay, you know what? It's getting, I think just gonna go ahead and switch on that light. There we go. That's better. It's gonna be a lot darker later, but it's already getting kind of dark now, so I figure we could do with some better lighting. So, what do you guys think? Is this better? This is my main workspace where I record all my videos and I write all my books. No, I don't. I haven't written anything in a while. um, I'm just kind of having fun with this YouTube channel so far, so I think I'm gonna continue doing this. If I feel like writing, I'm gonna write something. But other than that, I'm gonna focus on the this YouTube channel. I also have another channel that I haven't uploaded anything on, but I want to start uploading videos on there, and it's basically, it's supposed to be about my writing, and I might also post some book reviews and other things. It's called Just Write, but it's spelled WRITE. I almost just spelled right wrong. So anyway, it's Just Right, and if you guys wanna, it's my second channel. So if you guys want to check it out, you can definitely search it up and go do that. And I should probably put a link in the description, but I'm not about to figure out how to do that. And one other thing I want to do is start making my own thumbnails. Um, because I think that would be really awesome. And I have some of the content coming up. I have some really good ideas for what I want the thumbnail to be, but I have to make it myself, and that requires finding a free program that allows me to do it the way I want, which is probably going to be tricky because I've tried in the past and I can't I don't think I found anything very well or very good. Like I don't think I found anything too good for making thumbnails. I may have made one thumbnail, but I forget what the program. Maybe I made a thumbnail and I just forget what the program was. Why are my intros always so friggin' long? Okay, we're just gonna shut up and okay, you know what? I'm gonna do one more thing. I need to wipe my nose, and then we're gonna read another chapter of our book. And I'm assuming it's gonna skip ahead a couple of months as the last few chapters have. Hang on a second. I'm almost done. Don't worry, guys, I will have the sinus problem dealt with hopefully sooner rather than later, but as soon as possible. And it's not going to get rid of all the mucus in my nose, but if I can get the doctors to do what I found online, there's a nerve that they can sever that's responsible for the postnasal drip, and they're also going to expand my sinuses and make them bigger because there's a narrowing up there. That's what they found in an MRI that they gave me. So if I can get them to do that, then that'd be great. And especially the whole postnasal drip thing, that's really going to improve things for me. So I'm going to keep you guys posted on that as well. But you guys, if you guys have been a fan of my channel, especially for a while, you know I have some health issues, and like not just physical health, but also I have depression and stuff like that. I have depression, PTSD, autism. That's not really a mental health thing. That's just a something that I was born with, and I do call it a difference, but it is technically legally classified as a disability. So anyway, okay. It's time to read the book because forever. Okay, I forgot to go to the next page. I haven't had to do a capture in a really long time. So this is our Finn and Ember chapter, which I'm really looking forward to. If you guys remember the last author's note in the last chapter, had the author said that the next chapter was going to be about Finn and Ember, and I'm really looking forward to it, so blah. Now that I got that out of the way, Chapter 49, Truths and Secrets. 1 month later, so 11 months in total, and that is ever since we started doing the time skips, so blah. Okay. So why is it such a secret that we're dating? Like, what are you so freaked out about letting everyone know? Finn asked, staring at the redhead across from him in the coffee house. It's not that it's a secret, Finn. I just don't want Iggy being more protective of me than he already is, Ember said softly. He can be a bit much sometimes, and I don't want him to go overboard is all. Finn watched as she held the mug of tea in her hands, staring intently at him, looking slightly worried before he sighed. You told him you were gone for the week for work, but you're not even working this week. It's almost Friday, and he'll know you've been lying if he sees you up here. Just be upfront with him about it. He's your brother, not your father. It's not like he has a say in who you get to date anyways. You're treating him like some kind of overprotective husband that you're cheating on. Finn said, watching his Ember side, looking resigned. Yeah, you're right. I'll start to be more open to him about us. Do you know why Marshall's been here all month? The redhead asked suddenly now looking at her boyfriend. The boys have been wondering. I honestly have no idea. All I know is that he's been sick on and off, and Fiona wanted to keep an eye on him. He said, watching as Ember closed her eyes, her finger absent-mindedly running along the edge of her mug. The last time that happened, Marsh was really sick. You don't think he's had a recurrence, do you? She asked, looking up at him worriedly. Reaching over, Finn took her hand, his thumb rubbing along her knuckles soothingly. I really can't say, you know. I mean, I really hope not, because that would be horrible, but I can't say for certain if he has or not. Fiona hasn't mentioned anything about it. Hearing this, Ember nodded. Okay, I'll ask Iggy then, because he and Marsh always talk about everything, and I know my brother would be the first to know. I'll ask Fiona, and if either of us get anywhere, we'll tell each other, okay? Finn asked, watching as his girlfriend nodded. Sounds like a plan, the redhead said with a smile. Any thoughts for a date today? We could go back to my place, Finn said, lowering his voice slightly and watching as Ember's cheeks tinted pink at the implication. Finn, we always go back to your place. Besides, I missed a pill, so it's not even safe right now. I really don't want kids anytime soon. Ember sighed, watching as Finn looked disappointed as he gazed out the window. Yeah, me either. Jackie's gotten tons better, though. The last time I saw them, Jake said she was sleeping through the night, with only a few slip-ups every week. Yeah? She really is a cutie, though. I can't believe she's already 8 months old, Ember said with a smile. So, what if we go on a hayride or something? I mean, it's October, it's the month of hayrides. Sure, how about we pick out pumpkins, too? I mean, it's only the first week of October, but we can always carve them later. That would be awesome, Ember said with a laugh. I haven't carved pumpkins in forever, so I probably suck at it now. No, I don't think so, he said, waving their waitress over for the check. Besides, everybody that's normal only carves a pumpkin once or twice a year. It doesn't really leave room for a giant increase in skill over the years, Finn said, making her laugh. So, it's a yes to the hayride? Ember said eagerly. Definitely. I know a farm that's close that might have one, so let's go, Finn said, heading towards his car. The farm had everything Finn was expecting. Cornfield mazes, baby animals that would make his girlfriend melt. Aw. Fresh apple cider, and of course, hay rides. They walked along the dirt path, or more specifically, Finn walked along the dirt path. Ember was far behind, being followed by a horde of chicks as she tossed crushed meal behind her. At every animal pen, there was a bubblegum machine filled with the food that the animals would eat. And after losing all of his quarters to the machine, Finn went and broke a 20, getting all quarters, walking along giving Ember a quarter to feed each and every animal they passed. He had to admit, though, that the piglets were cute, and luckily, the redhead seemed to want to spend the majority of her time with them. They were teacup pigs, and a pink and white one in particular wouldn't leave the blonde alone. Sitting on the bench, Finn held out handfuls of the food to the small piglet as it ate greedily, and hearing Ember laughing, he looked over to see her lying on the ground face to face with several piglets as they all ate from her hands. Oh, that's so cute. Moments later, the sound of a ringing bell caught their attention. The hayride's loading up, Finn said, watching as reluctantly the redhead stood, heading towards them, leaving the piglets behind. No, 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 go, Piggy, be with your friends. Ember said, shooing one of the smaller piglets away as it tried following her. So using another quarter, she got more food, leaving a small pile just for the pig, following her, as she hurried after Finn. I think he liked you, the blonde said with a laugh, as they headed towards the wagon for the hayride. They were the only two riders, but the driver didn't seem surprised. It's always slow the first week, the man said with a grin, as he locked the back of the wagon bed, leaving the two alone in the back, as it began moving leisurely along the roads of the farm. The sounds of the horses' hooves, a slow and steady rhythm. Finn lay back in the hay, folding his arms behind his head as he sighed, Ember resting her head on his chest as they stared up at the sky. This is really, really nice, Ember said, smiling as she closed her eyes, feeling as Finn wrapped his arm around her. This is nice. I'm glad you thought of it, Finn said, nuzzling his face into her hair. They passed the pumpkin patch first, then they arrived at the corn maze. The sounds of children laughing could be heard emanating from it as they passed. The driver asked if they wanted to go through it, but the pair in the back declined, Ember tracing her finger along Finn's shirt as she smirked at him. Pulling her close, Finn kissed the redhead, feeling as she smiled, though moments later they hit a bump, jostling the two and knocking them forward. Finn landing on top of Ember, the girl laughing the entire time. Y'all okay back there? The driver asked, making the two freeze up. All's good here, Finn called back, kissing the redhead below him once again, and as she opened her eyes, she gasped. Finn, look how beautiful the orchard is, Ember said, pointing to the trees heavy with fruit. Careful, sometimes the apples fall into the wagon. That is so okay, Ember called back, clambering to her feet and reaching for an apple, tugging it from the tree they passed. Do you want one? Sure, Finn said, sitting back as he leaned on his elbows, watching as she reached for another apple, quickly twirling it in her hands before releasing it and grabbing at another. After several apples, she finally found one she liked and pulled it from the branch, tossing it to Finn as she flopped on the soft hay beneath her, now thoroughly checking her apple. Satisfied with its appearance, she took a bite of it and smiled, motioning for Finn to do the same and watching as he did so before smiling at her. These taste awesome, he said with a grin, watching as she grinned at him, holding hers and leaning against the hay bale. The best apples are freshly picked. There was an old tree near the cottage I stayed in back in Scotland, and I would always have apples when they were in season. This reminds me a lot of that, especially the hayride, Ember said with a smile, taking the final bite of her apple and tossing it over the side of the wagon, Finn doing the same. So, he said nonchalantly, were there any hayrides with any other guys back in Scotland? Just with Cam and Jackie, she said, simply glancing over and watching the honking ducks swimming in the pond as they slowly passed by it. I said any guys, Finn said with a laugh, as Ember looked at him curiously. Those were guys, Finn, Cameron and Jackson, but they were like my brothers. I didn't date anyone else while I was out there, because I knew I had to go home eventually, she said, smiling at the thought of her faraway friends. We still write to each other, you know. They know all about you, she said with a smirk, piquing his interest intensely. What have you told them? Oh, you know, the usual looks, how you treat me, all that fun stuff. They have a lot to say about you, not like I tell you, though. Come on, Em, tell me, Finn said teasingly as he began tickling her. Never, she squealed, squirming beneath him. Come on, tell me, he said, kissing her cheek and neck as he continued tickling her, though he soon abandoned that front, focusing solely on her lips against his as he continued kissing her. The ride had taken quite a while, and before they knew it, they returned to the farm, driver calling back to them. There's nobody else waiting. Would you like to go again? Definitely, Ember said with a laugh. This time around, she focused on the sights. She focused not on the sights, though, but her boyfriend, kissing him passionately and feeling as his hand made its way up her shirt. Then suddenly Finn started laughing. It went from a small chuckle to full-blown laughter, bringing it to the point where he just had to stop. Looking her right in the eye, he spoke quietly. We're having a roll in the hay while rolling in hay, he said, absolutely losing it while Umber too began laughing. Wiping the tears from her eyes, she slapped his arm. Way to go, ruining the mood with stupid facts, Finn, she said, still laughing. Hey, that was funny. Besides, we haven't even reached the corn maze yet. We have a long time to get the mood right back on track, he said, whispering into her ear before kissing Ember once again. Okay, back to Fiona and Marshall. Together they sat in Fiona's room, Marshall leaning against the headboard, and Fiona leaning on Marshall wrapped in his arms. They sat quietly, the blonde just having come home from a long day of school, and work immediately after. She was practically falling asleep in his arms. FP's coming down today, Marshall said quietly, listening as Fiona tried and failed to hold back a yawn. Yeah? She asked, her hand gently rubbing his forearm where the last IV had bruised him. I'm gonna tell him. I mean, he knows something's up. They were quiet for the longest time, and knowing that it would brighten his mood, Fiona spoke up. I heard one of our songs on the radio today. Really? Yes, looking down to meet her eyes as Fiona looked up at him. Yeah, Apocalyptica wasn't kidding when they said they could get us airtime. There were people calling in and asking about the band all day, too. We sounded awesome. That's probably the best news I've had in a while. I know, it's amazing, she said, smiling. The CDs hit stores next week. Do you think we'll reach the 30,000 sales that Aberdeen wanted us to? Marshall asked, suddenly sounding nervous. Of course I do. We'll blow sales records out of the water. Everyone's gonna want a piece of Marshall Lee and the Scream Kings, Fiona said with a smile, feeling as Marshall pressed his lips against her temple. You are seriously the best girlfriend I ever could have asked for, he said, hugging her tightly. Well, I'm one of a kind, Fiona said with a cheeky grin. Yeah, you are. I wouldn't change you for anything. Well, I'd change me because this one-of-a-kind girl needs a shower, Fiona said with a laugh, reluctantly pushing herself free from Marshall's arms. As she stood making her way over and began digging through her dresser, pulling out pajamas. Are we going anywhere? Fiona asked, turning to look at Marshall, who shook his head. Nope. Awesome, it's pajama time, she said, grabbing her towel off the hook and walking to the bathroom down the hall. Marshall listened as the shower turned on, waiting for Fiona to return, and glancing over, he spotted the familiar truck driving up the street, and pulling his cell phone from his pocket, Fiona, Marshall texted the redhead, getting a reply almost instantly. Yo, what's up, dude? Where you been, Marsh? At Feast. You have time to talk? When and where? At our old hangout in 10. See you there, dude. Flipping his phone shut, Marshall pulled on his sweatshirt, walking out of the room before knocking on the bathroom door and opening it. Fee, I'm gonna go talk to FP. Okay, I'll see you when you get back, Fiona called through the shower. Closing the door, Marshall made his way down the stairs and out the door, heading towards the old bridge over the river. Hopping over the side, he walked towards the waterfall, passing the tree with the arrow, then the giant boulder before cutting through the clearing. Knowing it was a 10-minute walk, Marshall walked over and sat on the stone rise that he and Fiona jumped off of together, much against her will, just more than 2 years ago. The sound of the waterfall was serene, and Marshall couldn't help but wonder if Fiona had come here at all after they'd come together. He'd have to ask her that. Man, I haven't been here in forever, Ignitus's voice said, coming from the direction Marshall had come from only 5 minutes ago. Nothing's changed at all, he said, stopping in front of the rock Marshall was sitting on, watching his friend watch the waterfall. Yeah, this place. There's always good memories here, Marshall said quietly. What's up, Marsh? You've been MIA for weeks now. What, did Fiona abduct you? He asked jokingly, watching as Marshall half-heartedly cracked a grin. Something like that. Now Ignitus grew serious. Marshall said he wanted to talk, so something was obviously up. So no kidding around. What's up? It came back, Marshall said quietly. For 7 months they thought I was okay, but I wasn't. Ignitus just stared at him. The only noise was the sound of the waterfall as he just stared at his best friend before shaking his head. This is a really bad joke, Marshall, Ignitus said, not sounding the least bit amused. I wish, now his voice broke, I wish I was joking, man. When exactly did you find this out? The redhead asked suddenly. After a beat of silence, Marshall answered. Last month, he said reluctantly. And why the hell did you wait until now to tell me this? Ignitus said in shock, watching as Marshall turned to face him. I didn't want to tell anyone. Ignitus, I broke up with Fiona to avoid telling her. You did what? Is that why she wanted to punch you in the throat? He asked, looking utterly shocked. Probably. I haven't told my mother or her parents. Nobody knows but me and her. Why the hell were you hiding this? Because everything was good. Everything was okay for the first time in so long, and I didn't want to ruin that. Everyone was focusing on making that CD, and for the first time ever, we were actually making it, okay? We were succeeding, and I didn't want to become a distraction. I don't want to be known as the dying band member. He shouted his frustration, reaching its peak as he paced back and forth. I don't want to be your dying best friend. I don't want to be Fiona's dying boyfriend. I don't want to be my mother's dying son, he shouted, running his hands through his hair, not even caring about the tears. It's not fair. I'm not even 21 yet, and I've already beaten it before, so why am I going through this again? Why is it me? Why is it always at me? I just want to live my life. I don't want all this money. I don't care about fame and recognition. I just want to live my life with Fiona and make music and just be happy. But the world doesn't want me to be happy. It wants me to just die, but I don't want to die. Isn't it enough that I can't go in the sun? That I can't be normal like you and everybody else on this damn planet? I don't want to die yet. There's so much that I haven't done and haven't seen and that I want to do, but I can't do any of it, Marshall said, wiping his eyes as he flopped on the sandy ground, growing silent, his arm over his face. Are you okay? Ignitus asked, sitting down next to Marshall, who was breathing heavily. I'm just not as collected as I want to be right now. I'm sorry for blowing up at you, Marshall said quietly as they sat together for the longest time. And after what felt like forever, Ignitus spoke up. It isn't fair, you're right about that, and it's okay that you blew up. I mean, if any guy our age was able to handle his impending mortality with ease and grace, there would be a problem with them. Now here's what I think. You kept quiet about what was going on for your own personal reasons, and I can respect that, but we're your family, the band. We are your family, so when you fall off the map, we get concerned, he said, lying down and looking up at the sky. It's not a shameful thing to be afraid, Marshall, and everyone cries, man. You a lot less than most people, but still. Now, for the record, I don't think the world's trying to kill you, and I don't think it wants you to be unhappy either. Everything happens for a reason, you know? I mean, her dad dying was awful, but if that hadn't happened, your mom never would have sent you up here to your grandma, and we wouldn't have met or be as good of friends as we are now. If you and your mom didn't fight like cats and dogs, you never would have moved out. Duh. And if you hadn't moved to that specific city, you wouldn't have ever met Fiona. God only knows what would be happening to her right this very moment if she didn't have you to run away to, Marshall, Ignitus said, watching as Marshall looked over to him. His eyebrows furrowed. This had definitely caught his attention, and Ignitus used this very moment to drive the point home. One sec. If you hadn't told her how to fight back, for all we know, she could have ended up being knocked up with that bastard Spawn in Chambers Wall right now, instead of being home safe. That could have been the result if you hadn't told her what to do or given her a place to hide, Ignitus said, making Marshall blink in utter shock as he continued. And Fiona being sent away, she never would have met her parents or my grandmother, and because of that, we probably never would have seen her again. Because as strict as they are, the Wrights are some of the best people on the planet. You being sick caught the cancer the first time, and you having cancer showed you that despite everything, Fiona would stay by you through thick and thin, not for your money, but for you. That freak showing up at Fiona's place allowed you to beat his ass and him get thrown in jail. That's a win-win to me. Most parents passing and just happening to be Aberdean's heart donor. That's a 1 in a billion chance right there, and because he wanted to thank him, something he never had to do. We got the opportunity of a lifetime. And now this cancer again, it has to mean something, Marshall. It's not your body out for revenge, and I know it has to feel that way to you. I mean, I can't imagine how that must feel, but this is going to show you something. You were sick and weak the entire time you went through this last time. And maybe this time you're supposed to prove that you're strong and dauntless. Don't you dare give up, Marshall, because I know you'll not only beat this, but you'll absolutely dominate and show the universe that nothing but old age can take you down, Ignitus said, now sitting up. We'll get through this, Marshall, but you can't give up on yourself so easily, and you can't go into this with a pushover attitude either. We're right here for you, man, but you do have to tell your mom. She deserves to know. Now Ignitus stood, reaching down and pulling Marshall to his feet as they headed back towards Fiona's house in the darkness. After 15 minutes, they arrived in front of the house. Now go in there, make out with your girlfriend, defy the world, and be a damn man, and I'll see you tomorrow, because my Nana was making Toll House cookies when I left, Ignitus said, watching as Marshall laughed as they bumped fists. I'll see you later, FP, Marshall said, feeling a million times better. Damn right you will, 'cause she'll probably want to share my cookies with you guys. Oh, and by the way, I mean it when I said you have to be strong, man. Don't be a bitch and punk out, or I'll have to kick your ass, understand? Ignitus said, turning, and with a wave headed towards his grandmother's house. Marshall, with a smirk and a shake of his head, turned, heading inside of Fiona's. Ignitus was right. He couldn't just give up on everything. That was stupid and pointless, because everything that had happened had indeed happened for a reason. Kicking off his shoes, Marshall pulled off his hoodie as he made his way up the stairs, entering Fiona's room. He didn't bother knocking because he was on a mission. The moment her door opened, Fiona jumped, startled at the sound, and watched with intrigue as Marshall entered the room, kicking the door shut behind him. She watched as he tossed his hoodie aside. It landed on the seat of her vanity, quickly pulling off his shirt after, leaving only his tank top on. Climbing on the bed, and before Fiona could ask him what in the world was going on, Marshall pulled her towards him by her hips, so their faces were level, before kissing her with such intensity that it sent shivers down her spine. Fiona only got a moment to catch her breath before Marshall kissed her again, his hand on her hip and the other angling her face as he continued kissing her. His tongue brushed against her lip, and in moments he was met with hers, feeling as her arms wrapped around his neck and her hands tangled into his hair as he continued kissing her, finally pulling back and leaving Fiona blushing and breathless. "Whoa," she said, panting softly, smiling as he stared at her, now smiling back, his first real smile in weeks. I'm not going to let this beat me, he said firmly, and pulling Marshall down, Fiona kissed him once again before pulling away. Looks like Ignitus taught some sense into you. Welcome back, she said with a smile, making Marshall laugh softly before he kissed her again. He did. So were Mom and Dad? Marshall asked, kissing her neck, listening as the blonde panted softly. Dad's out of town on business and Mom just called because she's working late. Why, what do you have in mind? Fiona asked with a knowing smirk as he pushed against her suggestively. I think we might have enough time to christen this bed of yours. What do you think? He breathed, his lips moving along her shoulder, watching as Fiona pulled off her nightshirt and pulled him towards her, kissing him fiercely before finally responding. I think you're right, she said, earning another kiss as soon as they were both lost in the heat of the moment. Alright, that is the end of that chapter. That was kind of a short one. So we've had our taste of Finn and Ember that hopefully satisfied everyone, and we've had some more Fiona and Marshall, which should put you guys at ease that he's not dead, lol. See, the thing with Marshall was that he was so freaked about being diagnosed again, with this time a much more aggressive form of cancer caused by the one he'd thought he beat, that he immediately cut his losses and gave up on the thought of being able to live his life, obviously being quite depressed about it. However, after talking to Ignitus and hearing his everything happens for a reason speech, with some examples that seriously drove the point home to Marshall, he realized that this was just another hurdle he had to jump over and that giving up so soon was a stupid thing to do. The most important thing was that Marshall realized that he'd given up far too soon on himself, and Ignitus rectified that situation. That is true. And you shouldn't just, guys, you shouldn't just give up on something that's hard because it's hard. And, just because you get diagnosed with cancer or like some illness doesn't mean it's the end of it. Like, we all come into this world knowing we're gonna die, but, like, the thing is, just don't give up. I think, like, just don't give up, and don't give up, and just think you're gonna die just cause you have cancer, and don't give up on yourself and your treatment or whatever. Like, in Breaking Bad, for example, when Walt didn't want treatment for his cancer, and, that whole thing. So, and if you get help, accept it. If someone offers to pay for your cancer treatment, accept it. And, just don't be like, oh, well, I'm just gonna die, so there's no point anyway, even though that's not the reason why I think Walt didn't take the money for cancer, and not because of his pride either. Okay, I started in on Breaking Bad, but the point is, don't just, like, give up on a situation just because it seems bad or hopeless. Because maybe it won't be the end, and maybe you'll never know what could have been your future if you don't end up moving forward and, getting the treatment or whatever, or like, if you're depressed, then don't commit suicide because some amazing things could happen. Look, bad things are gonna happen and that's just the end of it, and good things are gonna happen too. But if you're like depressed and you commit suicide, then you're never gonna know all the stuff that's gonna happen in the future. And some of it's gonna be good and some of it's gonna be bad. But just don't give up on yourself and don't give up on your life because chances are that something amazing is right around the corner. And, something amazing could be right around the corner. And even if it's not, just keep telling yourself that something amazing might be just around the corner. So you can't give up and you can't commit suicide. And this just got really dark, but this is an important message that you guys need to hear. And I know not that many people watch my videos, but the people that do, I want you guys to hear this. I want you guys to know. Just don't give up on yourself and don't give up on life because maybe something good is around the corner, maybe it's not. But if you just give up and kill yourself, you're never gonna know. And that actually got me through some really difficult times, thinking, okay, maybe things will get better. Like, maybe something awesome is right around the corner. And guess what? Something awesome was right around the corner. Not like right around the corner, like, oh, the next day suddenly everything changed and I won $1 million and, my life was amazing. No, it happened slowly. It took time. But look at me now. I'm in my own apartment. I moved out of my mom's place. COVID seems to be like wrapping up, or at the very least, getting better. Like things are getting better, and probably eventually soon we'll get to the point where it's not a pandemic anymore. And, it might still, it's still gonna exist, but, things could get better, and we're probably gonna get to the point where it's not gonna be a pandemic anymore. And that could be soon. That could be in a few months. It could be in a year. I don't know. We're not gonna know. The point is, we don't know what the future holds, but that is what makes life great. And that is why you should never give up on life, because you don't know what your future will hold. You don't know what great things are going to happen in the future. And if you just give up, then you will never know. But what keeps me alive? What keeps, because I I haven't had an actual plan to commit suicide since I was about 17. I was in the hospital for a few days because I was going to commit suicide. Like, I had a whole plan. I was gonna go through with it, and then they put me in the hospital for a few days, and, um, that sucked. But, and, and yeah, it took me a while to get better because from the ages of 15 to 17, I struggled with some really, really serious suicidal thoughts. But the thing that keeps me going now, because I still struggle with these thoughts, I don't have an actual plan. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna commit suicide, I'm gonna go slit my wrists right now. Like, and I know it's difficult to talk about, but the point is, people struggle with these thoughts. And the point is that you should not give in to them. And what keeps me going is that I don't know what's around the corner. I don't know what's going to happen next. That's an amazing thing to me, is that I don't know what's going to happen next. Maybe something good will happen. Maybe I'll just get chocolate chip pancakes for breakfast in a couple of days. I mean, I definitely will because it's my birthday. But my point is, like, if I might not be alive today. I literally might not be alive today if I hadn't, you know, like, so many things happened to that helped me through my suicide, and maybe I'll actually make an entire video about that because I feel like depressed people need to hear this. They need to know that it's not the end. Just because you feel hopeless or sad or whatever, yeah, you feel sad now, but you're not going to feel that way forever. What if something awesome happens tomorrow? What if something awesome happens and you missed it because you decided to commit suicide? What if the second coming of Christ happens and you missed it because you decided I'd rather die because I'm just giving up. I know it's I know I've made some jokes about like things that could happen, but I don't know. Something good could happen. Like, it might happen tomorrow or it might happen in 10 years. Like, but you're not gonna know. You're never gonna know. That's one of the awesome things about life. You don't know what will happen next, but just don't give up on yourself. And, we're all on this earth knowing we're not going to be around forever. That's actually one of the hardest parts of life. Actually, I was talking to my mom about that on the phone a couple of days ago, about how, like, life life doesn't last forever. It's probably the most unfair thing about living on this planet. Not dying, but like watching the people you love die is one of the hardest things. I've lost a few family members. I've never talked about this, but have lost. I lost my great grandmother, my Aunt Sandy about a year later. My cousin Vi was the most recent one. I lost her early 2020, like just before the pandemic started. And then I also lost two dogs. One was the family dog, and yes, Dasher is gone. He is no longer with us, unfortunately. He was an awesome dog. I loved him very much. And then my neighbor's dog, who I was really close with, Scout, he was a sweetheart. And then he had to be put down due to old age. And Dasher actually, this is relevant, Dasher actually had cancer, and he beat it once, and then it came back a second time, and it took him down, and my mom ended up putting him down because she didn't want him to suffer anymore, and it was really hard. And this was in April, like just after the start of the pandemic, like a month after the start of the pandemic about, Dasher had to be put down, and it sucked because I loved him very much. We all did, but I'm just saying, like, we're all gonna die, and I've actually been, and the reason why we were talking about how unfair it is to watch people die is because I've been grappling with my grandfather's imminent death for like a year. So last summer, I gotta tell you guys about last summer. Last summer, my grandpa ended up, um, he could no longer look after himself, and we were looking at options for care homes. And my mom was away for pretty much the whole summer. I think I saw her for about 2 weeks in total for the summer, and she was away the rest of the time. And she was with my Uncle Mike, her brother, dealing with my grandpa, looking at care homes, looking at different options. And my grandpa, if you don't know, my grandpa is really stubborn. He's one of the most stubborn people, probably the most stubborn person I know, other than my sister. And maybe she gets that from our grandfather, I don't know. But, and then this summer, just a very short time ago, like a couple of weeks ago, they moved my grandpa into a care home. And the trip that my mom's away on right now, it's not like a fun vacation where, you go to the beach and you drink margaritas and shit like that. No. My grandpa's in a care home now, and she is cleaning out the farm so we can rent it out. Because my grandpa wants to rent it out to someone so that it can stay in the family, which I think is awesome. But it took a year for my grandpa to realize that he is going to a care home and he needs to go to a care home. He finally, gave in. So that's very hard to deal with. And I've been kind of grappling with this, and it's been pretty difficult. I've been dealing with this a lot. I've been trying to, like, I know it's gonna be okay. And also, he's not like sick or anything. He's just at that age, you know? He turned 80 last year. So there's that. And it does suck. It is really hard to deal with. But I love him so much, and I loved all my other family members, and it was hard for them to go. And, I knew my grandpa wasn't going to be around forever. And maybe he'll have, like, I don't know, 10 more years. Maybe he'll have 10 more years left. Maybe he'll have 15 more years left. I don't know how much longer he has. Maybe he has 20 years. Maybe he has a few weeks. I don't know. But chances are good that I'm going to get to see him again. Like I said, he's not really sick or anything. He's old. He's a really good guy, and I love him, and the last time I saw him was in 2019, so I haven't seen him since before the pandemic started. And usually I get to see him like once a year in the summer. I know I was kind of hoping that I'd get to see him this summer, but I didn't. But point is, death sucks and it happens much too quickly. So instead of giving up on life, just make the most out of your life. Do awesome things with it. And if you want your life to change, then change it. Go out and change it. Like, if you want things to get better, then make things better for yourself. Find something that you love. Like, I have writing, I have my YouTube channel. I found stuff that I love and that I'm really passionate about. So, go out and do that. Find a hobby that you really like. That could be enough to make you want to stay and want to keep doing this, want to keep living. And also, committing suicide, you don't realize what you're leaving behind. You're leaving behind your family, your friends, the people who care about you, and that's gonna really hurt them. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. This is I just wanted to share that with you guys because I don't know, I just wanted to share something with you guys really important about, suicide and why you shouldn't give up on life and uh, about life and death and stuff and I don't know. Anyway, I love you guys. I'm gonna go. And I'll bring you guys the next chapter. I don't know, today or tomorrow.